Hi, this is Marie Rowe, and I'd like to share how I got from Coventry, England to Hollywood, California. Known for the legend of Lady Godiva and Peeping Tom, Coventry suffered terrible destruction during World War II. The city's beautiful 14th century cathedral was destroyed, but later rebuilt within the shell of its former self. It was reinvented. When I left Coventry, even though I didn't know it at the time, I was reinventing myself. I'd actually thought that one day I would go to Hollywood, but never imagined what it would take to get there, nor realize how my experiences would give me the character I needed to thrive in the film capital. Working in the Hollywood film industry has given me an opportunity to experience the lives of others beyond the story being told in the film, and of course to meet and work with the top A-list actors, all of whom you would know. People always want the juicy details of what it's really like in Hollywood, but I'm not here to name drop. Well, I might drop a couple later. Whether you want to seek fame and fortune in Hollywood or want to do something else that sets your soul on fire, it's your unique journey. It may also take a while to realize, but be patient, trust in the process of life, and don't be afraid to live spontaneously. Take risks. I really never knew where my life journey would take me, which I believe is true of most children. Kids live in the moment, and, they're not necessarily concerned with their future until they leave school. Sometimes they might follow a route that seems an obvious choice at a young age, but then later, perhaps at the dismay of their parents, they choose to go in another direction. They take the road less travelled, the risky one. However, because of necessity, so many people are working in jobs that they don't particularly like. They have financial responsibilities. They need to take care of their family. They pay the bills. But it's never too late to realize our human potential and the possibilities that are available to us in life. I was at a secondary modern school in Coventry learning Pitman's shorthand. Well, what's that, you might ask? It's kind of a dead language. Anyway, in the old days, for me anyway, it was either learning this new way of communicating or studying domestic science, a fancy name for cooking and cleaning. I thought, well, anyone can cook and clean, but to be able to learn a secret language and make a living as a secretary seemed a lot more attractive. Consequently, when I left school at 15, I had a skill which would eventually open doors for me in Hollywood. Of course, that was absolutely not in my consciousness at the time, although I did enjoy acting and I was always in the school plays. My wonderful English teacher, Mr. Wildsmith, seemed to be impressed by my understanding and interpretation of Shakespeare's language, so encouraged me to take elocution lessons when I was 13. He sent me to see Miss Simpson at Bell Green Community Centre, where I spent every Saturday morning learning how to speak proper English. Miss Simpson was very la-di-da and soon whipped me into shape. Naturally, I had to drop my new and improved accent when I was at school for fear of being mocked. I was entered into English speaking exams by Miss Simpson that were held by the Royal Academy of Speech and Drama, and I did quite well. I also joined the local drama group, the Bell Orchard Players, when I was 15. Now, since I grew up in an era where little girls should be seen and not heard, acting, it gave me a voice. I loved playing different characters and being applauded for my performances. I was finally getting the acknowledgement I had looked for within my family, but which was sadly missing. I heard a quote which was supposed to have come from Sir Laurence Olivier, that actors were rather dysfunctional because they're only happy being someone else. Well, that was certainly true for me. When I was 16, I was offered a scholarship to RADA, but my mother wouldn't let me accept it. I was too young. London was the big bad city. And what's the point, she said. After all, you'll soon be getting married, having babies and scrubbing floors. That's how she put it. And it wasn't a future that exactly appealed to me, to be honest. So it was secretarial work for me, while confining my acting to part-time drama college and amateur dramatics. That's where I met my husband, a fellow thespian. In those days, if you weren't married by the age of 21, you were definitely on the shelf and close to becoming an old maid. Isn't that ridiculous? It's so stupid. I was 23, so alarm bells were ringing and people were saying, oh, you're going to get married. When are you going to get married and have babies? Although I did marry my husband for love, I didn't enjoy having to support him while he went full-time to the local drama college. He was living the life I wanted, but I thought it was important that he fulfilled his dream and that it was my place to be the good little wife. I worked full-time as a legal secretary and spent several nights pulling pints behind the bar in the disco at the Baggington Oak, which was managed by my aunt and uncle. So that was quite convenient. It was the late 60s and the music was great. The Beatles, Rolling Stones. It was fantastic. Also, since this was the first discotheque in Coventry, it was very popular and always busy. It was a lot of fun. And I felt as if I was going to a party every time I worked there. I also helped with catering and was a waitress at wedding receptions held at the pub on weekends. It was really not a hardship at all, except that when my husband picked me up from the pub and told me what he did at drama college that day, I was frankly envious. To be honest, I wasn't really happy in my marriage. I was lonely. Since neither of us wanted children, I was wondering what my life was all about. In an attempt to shake things up, I decided to quit secretarial work and enrolled in a beauty therapy course. The training was in Northampton, and I travelled there from Coventry every day for 3 months to learn all aspects of beauty therapy. There were facials, massage, manicures. However, the main focus of the business and the moneymaker was electrolysis, the removal of superfluous hair. And I learned how to extricate the root of individual hair follicles by sticking electric needles into the hairy legs of Miss Frida Irons, the lady who ran the salon. She was very patient and seemed quite immune to the tingling shock of the electric current, or maybe she secretly liked it. Actually, I didn't find electrolysis at all satisfying. Even though I was able to temporarily remove facial hair from clients, I saw how troubled these women were. Most came weekly for treatment because they didn't want their husbands to know they had facial hair. Amazing. Anyway, they were in distress, and as far as I was concerned, this treatment should have been available on the NHS. It was a psychological problem, and women shouldn't have to pay for it. I mentioned this to Miss Irons, who naturally didn't appreciate my way of thinking. This was the beginning of the end of my beauty therapy career, as you can imagine. As it happens, it also brought the demise of my marriage and almost my own demise. Since I was no longer able to financially support my husband, it created great stress between us. In desperation, I swallowed a bottle of codeine pills, but was unsuccessful in ending my life or getting the attention I desperately needed from my husband. So now I'm at a crossroads. What to do next?